We've Americanized the hell out of the English language. So, I mean...
Wow!
We have so much in common.
Wow! Okay, keep playing.
Welcome back, lads and lassies. It is your favorite couple from the Midwest, and we are back here today to take another look at UK and US differences. This video is from the channel Lost in the Pond, titled 28 British versus American Words for Food. For those that don't know, his channel is discovering the differences that got lost in the pond between the UK and the US. He's born British, raised in Britain, and moved to America. Anyway, he actually doesn't live that far away from us. When I say that, it could be like 10 hours away. I'm not for sure. I think he lives close to Chicago.
8 and 10 hours.
But he is a Midwest boy, like us. Well, like me.
Yeah. I'm a Midwest girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's from the he's been here long enough. He's from the Midwest. So anyway, guys, I really do enjoy his channel. He has great content, and that's what we're going to be doing here today.
So now we can all enjoy together.
But before we get in the video, please like, share, subscribe, turn the notification bell on. You can hit me up on Discord, Instagram, and the YouTube comments. That being said, I will be doing a live stream to catch up with you guys when we hit 30K. Until then, though, let's check this video out, which again is titled 28 British versus American Words for Food.
Hello, I'm Lawerence.
I'm Tara.
And we are on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America
lost in the pond.
And
Nice.
one of those memos pertains to food.
Food.
Specifically, the words we use to describe them. George Bernard Shaw once said that Britain and America are two nations divided by a common language. And nowhere is this more evident when it comes to the things we put in our mouth. Food.
And so today we are going to be talking about 28 different British and American words for food. So just as a disclaimer, I actually use the British terminology for most of these nowadays because I've just been with you so long.
I was like, wait, she's American.
Sorry, I feel like a king.
As I say, I paused it. He looks so proud of himself for that, though.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I've seen a video with his wife. Now, I've seen, like, the titles, whatever, he does several, but see, they're a couple doing a video, and we're a couple doing a video.
Wow!
We have so much in common.
Wow! Okay, keep playing.
And as such, I might actually forget the American words too, but bear with me, I'll try to give you some context.
And so, without further ado, let the buffet commence. All right, well, one entry in, and I already want to eat the picture. Wife, what do you...
Okay, so how about...
Should we try to guess what they're going
Guess
for?
it, I won't pause it. But
I don't know, that might be too difficult because they might show something
No, not just the British word, just what first thing that pops in our mind, our word, and then we'll see if we're even correct on either one.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a biscuit.
No, I don't think so. It's like a puff pastry or something.
I'm saying biscuit.
What do you call this?
Well, I call it a Yorkshire pudding, but it is a popover in this country.
But again, my
Popover?
influence has paid off. I also call it a Yorkshire pudding, not to be pudding that we use to describe desserts in Britain. This is a savoury meal that you would eat as perhaps part of a Sunday roast.
That's a whole
Fun
meal.
fact, I learned to make these before I met him.
Part of a roast.
Did you?
Yeah, and I'll explain it more when I actually make a video about them.
So at first glance, I think I'd call this chocolate sauce, but that's not what this photo is of. Well, I mean, I can't describe it without giving away the answer.
Oh,
although I
Hershey's.
could just tell you
Hershey's
what I
chocolate
call it.
syrup.
It would be black treacle.
Oh, it's molasses.
Now, apparently,
It does look like chocolate though.
Yeah, but no, yeah.
Okay, molasses makes sense.
these have different names around the world, but where I
is
grew
it?
up, this was known as a Swiss roll.
Yeah.
I think it was a Swiss roll where I grew up too, but I think the Swiss rolls that I ate as a kid came in Little Debbie boxes
Yep.
or
Yeah.
something like that at least.
Now
No,
this
I've
one's
never
an
seen
interesting
homemade.
one to me because when I first moved here, I ordered some of this at Qdoba, and I think I referred to it then, as I always have, as sweet corn.
But we call it corn.
But I should say that I have on occasion heard people in the US refer to it as sweet corn as well. It's just not as widespread as you would find in the UK. Right.
Because I was gonna say, well, when I go buy it from a store, it's just called corn. But if you go buy like from a farmer's market, they always say sweet corn.
Oh, when you buy like a head of corn.
Yeah.
Okay. Like when it's in a can, they have different kinds of corn. Not everything is sweet corn, but generally that's what the majority is. Especially if you're going to be eating it on the
If you're gonna be eating besides popcorn, it's pretty much always just sweet corn.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we don't eat filled corn, obviously.
If you know your onions, because that's a
I
phrase,
want to say
then
onions.
you'll know that this is a specific
Shallots?
kind of onion. And where I come
Shallots are
from,
leeks.
refer to this as a spring onion.
And I refer to the top of it as spring onions and the bottom of it as scallions because that's the type of onion that it is.
Is that, are you making
Yeah.
a compromise with your husband, or is that?
I would say
fact?
chives.
I
for
think
the
it
top
might just
part.
be fact, but you're going to have to look up on your botany.
Americans, just like Brits, do enjoy their Italian food, and this, where I come from, would have been referred to, and still is, I think, as either spaghetti bolognese or spag bol, because we like to shorten things.
I think it's hilarious that you all call it spag ball,
What do you call it?
just spaghetti.
There are more syllables
Yeah.
in spaghetti than in spag bol.
We just don't talk about the bolognese part.
Now, there's a type.
To be fair though, I don't understand why we call it just spaghetti though, because the spaghetti is just the noodle.
Usually
not the
it's like
sauce.
usually it's like spaghetti and meat sauce or spaghetti and some sort of sauce because sometimes you have white sauce. But I don't. Yeah, spaghetti
always just say
bolognese
spaghetti.
is almost never mentioned here. Even in Italian restaurants, it's usually
In spaghetti than in
meat
spag
sauce.
bol.
We just don't talk about the bolognese part.
Now, there's a type of milk, the name of which Brits and Americans can't agree on, and it's this. I refer to this type of milk as skimmed milk.
And I just say skim milk or non-fat.
Do you know who
Skim
came
milk,
up
that's
with
all I
it?
say.
Yeah.
It wasn't Americans, it was Shakespeare. I think this is another one that should come with a caveat
What are
and
those things?
serviette
I
slash
forget.
napkin. Because I think the word we use in Britain is in use here, but just like with sweet corn, it's not as widespread as it might be in Britain. In Britain, I'd refer to this as a profiterole.
And I think of it as a cream puff.
Why?
That's what I was
puff.
thinking, cream puff, yeah.
Yeah. I was like some sort of puff. I know there's puff in it, but yeah, profiterole, I would not know what you're talking about.
If you're a big fan of seafood,
I am. I just had some really good sushi for lunch today.
that's good. And while I absolutely hate sushi, I do like a good round of prawns.
Right,
yeah,
there were
I knew
shrimp
about
in my
prawn.
sushi too.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Right, so when you say shrimp, that's the same thing as prawns. It's crazy.
What's a tiger shrimp to you?
No idea.
A tiger prawn.
All right, sometimes I like to make my own burgers, and when I do, I use this.
Ground beef.
Yeah.
Or as I would call it, minced beef, because we love that word, right? Minced beef, minced pies, after eight mince, they're all different words. Well, now,
But is it technically minced? Like it goes through what we call a grinder.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes more sense to actually
Minced
call it
is
ground.
usually a way of being. I mean, it's about the same type of thing, but yeah, we definitely don't call it that.
As I've learned with words, like I don't know. I really don't think it really matters. Like they have different words, we have different words.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same language.
Yeah.
We've Americanized the hell out of the English language. So I mean, it is always interesting to see the differences, though, for
Yeah.
sure. Considering we supposedly.
Because that one you could
speak
probably
English.
guess if someone's talking about get some minced meat, you'd be like ground beef.
I would think like finely chopped meat. I wouldn't actually think ground beef.
Well, that's kind of what ground beef is. It's finely
No.
processed or finely.
Yeah, but I would think like for a
ground.
stew, like minced meat for a stew, that's more like steak, whereas ground beef is, been ground.
You
and-
would think minced would be steak?
no, like a
taking
finer
steak.
cut, like a finer
Oh.
cut is what I would think minced.
Yeah,
meat
because
is.
you don't always think of a type of ground beef. You could be some sort of
Exactly.
meat and then minced. Because minced is more the chopping into tiny
That's why, that's what I'm saying.
I see what you're
Like,
saying,
like
yeah.
when we mince onions,
Yeah.
we don't grind the onions into like soup.
Right.
We just chop them very finely. That's what minced onion is.
Yeah.
So,
wife, since I know for a
Mac
fact
and
this is one of your
cheese.
favorite meals, I'm going to allow you to go first on this.
I do love a good macaroni and cheese.
But you'll sometimes say mac and cheese, right?
Yeah.
But either way, the crucial component here is the word and. We don't bother with that
Mac
in
cheese?
Britain. To us, this is just macaroni cheese. Don't ask me why.
Oh.
That looks disgusting.
Tell that to
amazing.
19-year-old Lawrence Brown drunk on a Friday night in
looks like
Grimsby. Because back in the day,
Euro?
these were very popular for
Yeah.
that demographic.
why do those
Oh,
look-
don't get me wrong. I like a good hero, but
Wait, what did you just call it?
a hero.
A hero?
Well, sure, that's what it is.
What's heroic about it?
No, Gyro, a hero.
That's the word that everyone thinks is pronounced gyro. Well, the thing that we eat that's very similar to a hero is called a doner kebab.
Where
what?
are you finding these?
a doner kebab?
Wow. Well, if I ever go and someone says they have a doner kebab, I'm like, I know what that is and I like it. Good to know.
That's very similar to a hero is called a doner kebab.
Where are you finding these pictures?
I have my sources. And while this
Google.
might look
I'm sure
like
it's
some,
true.
aloe vera, it is in fact what I
Jell-O.
would call jelly.
Jello.
That's the
Really
difference.
gross Jello.
So this one brought up a bit of confusion to me because when I first moved
Ham?
here and we had
Brisket?
ham for Christmas,
think
this didn't resemble what I would call ham in Britain. In fact, it looked more like gammon
Oh, wow. That's really interesting because I have never heard that before. And in fact, isn't gammon a specific cut of meat? Because to me, that is just a spiralized ham, or at least I suspect it's spiralized in terms of cut. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
She knows her cuts. I don't know.
I don't buy large
The
portions.
only reason
of
why I
meat.
was thinking brisket was because of how it was cooked on the
Oh,
ground. But
I think brisket is usually shredded.
yeah, I guess.
And it's usually beef, I think. I guess you use pork brisket. I don't know. I grew up vegetarian, so I don't know that much about meat. I know ground beef. That's about it.
And we just grew up with ground beef.
Yeah, so.
No fine cuts of meat for us.
Fish sticks, by the way.
The years, a lot of my subscribers have told me that they've seen this very food item in Walmart as being marked from my hometown of Grimsby. And that should tell you that I used to eat these for breakfast. I didn't mean to admit that. I would call these fish fingers.
And I would call them fish sticks, and for the record, I ate them a lot growing up too, but not for breakfast.
I was gonna say, it's definitely, I know as a little kid,
It's an American thing.
yeah, like 6 to 10, like my parents, we were always excited, like, about like corn dogs and fish sticks. We love corn dogs and fish sticks, and like we would just get some fish sticks and make a fish stick sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd bake them like 10 minutes, put them on bread, get some mayo, some lettuce, and onion.
Like a normal
Yeah.
sandwich,
Yeah.
but with fish.
Pretty much, yeah. But
Yeah.
the fact that they would cook so fast for us,
That's true.
and even as a little kid, I think like my brothers, like at 10 or whatever, I don't know if they should have, but we were allowed to make them ourselves.
Oh.
So,
Still haven't got used to fish sticks. Well, you wouldn't dip your fish sticks
Cupcakes.
in these, would you, wife?
No, give me custard
hey, he just called her wife.
Yeah.
any
Of
day.
course, I think
And
she
I have
said her name in the beginning.
Well, you wouldn't dip your fish sticks in these, would you, wife?
No, give me custard any day.
And I have to say, before I moved to the United States,
Cupcake.
I didn't really partake of these very often, but if I did, I would have called these fairy cakes.
And I call them cupcakes because they're baked in a cup.
And they're cakes. It's not just that the United States has Lay's instead of Walkers. Even the very product in the
Potato
bag
skins?
goes by a different name.
Potato chips.
And of course, where I grew up, these were referred to
Oh.
as crisps. There's just, I can't go on.
Zucchini.
Okay, I think I know this one. I don't remember the word, but I know it's very, very different.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gonna be very
Oh, okay.
different.
We'll have to see, because I don't
Cannot
know.
go on looking at that.
The zucchini.
But in the name of professionalism, we do have to name this screened object. It's not something that I've eaten often, but when I used to see it on the shelves at Asda, I think this used to go by a French word, courgette.
And they are very tasty, but I think they're called zucchinis.
Yeah.
And now we begin our final 10.
You've certainly whetted my appetite.
It was a joke. So I have to admit, for the first, 30
Cabbage?
years of my life, I detested
Leek?
lettuce. So I didn't really eat much.
Why is it that from the pictures I'm guessing things just totally wrong? I don't get it. Like my first thought was lettuce, and it was like, no, that's leek. I obviously don't know what.
You haven't
food-
seen a leak often enough.
I haven't.
probably.
I don't go shopping.
That's true.
I
You
don't know
haven't
what the
shopped in
food-
a long time.
I don't know what food looks like, guys. I'm sorry.
Except for when it's prepared already on a plate.
I know what it's called. If they're like, hey, this is zucchini. I know what that is, but I don't. I guess I don't know food. I'm sorry.
I detested lettuce, so I didn't really eat much of it in Britain. But I've come to find that my fellow Brits refer to this as cos lettuce.
I think we just call it romaine, but I'm not really sure why.
But I can tell you why we call it
Grand.
cos lettuce, because
the
it's
type.
connected to the island of Kos.
Oh, is it from there?
I think so. Hey wife, what is the corniest thing you've ever seen that isn't actually corn?
Cornstarch?
Cornstarch.
What are you doing?
Just kidding. It's cornstarch, which is actually made of corn, so you got that wrong.
You refer to this as cornstarch?
Yeah.
No way, no way. Where I'm from, this is corn flour.
Ooh, I really
that
like
makes
this
sense.
one on tacos.
So-
A lot
Cilantro.
of people don't because they say that it tastes like soap.
So odd that that's the case, but cilantro will always have
I
my
got one.
heart.
And coriander, as I refer to it
They're
as,
the same thing.
will not,
I knew
but
that.
the sentiment
Oh, really?
is there.
Yeah.
Oh, Cadbury.
So coriander usually,
I
for
thought it was
us,
coriander
refers
with
to the
seed.
seed.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's the same seed that comes from cilantro.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're the same thing. But if you have coriander powder, it's just the seeds ground up, cilantro seeds. But they are the same.
It's there.
Oh, Cadbury, my Cadbury. This is clearly a candy bar, but I probably would call it chocolate bar nowadays too. I wonder why.
I would also call it a chocolate bar because I always have, and I've influenced her beyond belief.
Oh yes, this is chili, which can
Okay.
be vegetarian, and I know that that is a very scary statement for some of you.
And that includes in the United Kingdom, where we typically do have chili with meat, and because of that, we refer to it as chili con carne. There's perhaps no more well.
And then what? Why?
I don't know. Chili con carne?
It's just like adding extra word for no reason.
They're getting that French influence, it sounds like.
known British-American food difference than this one. Clearly, I refer to these as chips.
Fries.
But it should be said that whenever I've ordered fish and chips in this country, they have indeed gone by fish and chips.
Is that actually true? Because I feel like sometimes when they have fish and chips on the menu and then you order it, you end up with potato chips and then you absolutely hate it.
Yeah, that happened once and I've never been back to that pub again. All right, raise your hand if you've just recently been to your state fair. I can only see her hand because you're not in the room.
That's one thing that we have. We have state fairs.
Yeah.
I would be interested to know if you guys have like county fairs
Or even carnivals.
or well, I'm pretty sure they have carnivals. They have carnivals. It's
Or
not-
what we think of a carnival as like a state fair.
No, yeah, they definitely have carnivals. But do you guys have like a county fair or some kind of fair that represents your area?
Like an annual type
Yeah, like an
thing that
annual
comes
thing.
up.
Because I know we have a lot of festivals. Like every town has like their own festival once a year. And
We have
then
a lot of rodeos too.
we have a state fair. We have a lot of like those kind of things. So I'd be interested to know if you guys have them. Mainly just if you guys have them that often.
Yeah.
But, of course, at state fairs and indeed at fairgrounds in England, you might find that sort of cotton ball thing that they put on sticks that you eat that's also sugary. We refer to that as candy floss.
And while I haven't
Oh,
had
I've
any
heard that.
since I was 6, we call it cotton candy. Are those molasses cookies?
I don't know, I didn't make them, but if they are, it would be doubly confusing. Because where I'm from, these are referred
Biscuits.
to as biscuits. And this is even more confusing because you have something called biscuits, which are kind of like, I don't know, savory scones.
I even have a recipe for biscuits, like American ones, on my website, which you can check in the description.
While this might look like a vegetable that the Super Mario
Right.
Brothers
Beet.
might pull out of the ground, it is in fact a
Why?
It's one of those. They're very similar.
I,
It could be a radish.
I'm trying to guess it. Like I just have no idea. I'm so dumb.
vegetable that a qualified farmer would pull out of the ground. And syllabically, we take the longer approach to naming this vegetable because we refer to it as a beetroot,
And I just say beets. This might
What's
be my
your-
favorite vegetable, and that is
Eggplant.
the eggplant.
which was a really disconcerting term when I first moved to the United States because I pictured eggs growing on trees. And that could be something to do with the fact that in the United Kingdom, we refer to these as aubergines. But I do have a
What?
confession to make after all of this.
What's that?
Because I didn't really eat these in the UK and I only learned to eat them in the United States, I have come to call them eggplants.
Haha. Well, that was fun. It's fun reacting as a couple to another couple.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
Different.
But yeah, that was really interesting. I don't know why. I just don't know food. I'm sorry.
Well, to be fair, some of those pictures are deceiving. And, I think beets and radishes are very, very similar. I'm not
yeah,
actually
but radishes
sure.
are a lot smaller.
You might be right.
A radish is like that big. A beet
Well, I
is
think
like
there's
that big.
big radishes also, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. I should know food more.
But I've heard of beetroot, and I figured it was the same thing.
But yeah, it was interesting to see the differences. It's always interesting to see the differences. Like I've said though, at this point, I'm just like, I can't compare them anymore. Like, oh, why do you guys say this over this? It's just like you guys have your own language.
Yeah.
Obviously, it came first and all that, but at the same time, it's just like it is almost like two different languages.
Yeah, I don't know where we got the word eggplant from that. I don't understand. I don't even remember what your guys' word for it was, but it was still interesting. I don't know how we got eggplant.
What what is really interesting though is the fact that we can talk though, even though it's like even though it's like having a second language or like two different languages,
Oh.
we can still have most conversations be the same.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we can understand enough, and we can usually get by context what you're saying. But yeah, there is some words that are very different. If you just started spouting off your words for eggplant or zucchini, we'd be like, what are you talking about? What are these things? Are these special imported things
From France.
from France?
So anyway, I'm not gonna say though like you guys are pronouncing it wrong. Obviously, you're not. You're pronouncing it the way a Brit should, and we're pronouncing it the way I guess American should.
Yes.
Anyway, it
We're
is always.
both correct.
Well, they might have some. They might say differently.
I say differently. I say we are both correct.
But anyway, it is always interesting to see exactly the different word comparisons. So it was very enjoyable to watch this video, and thank you to Lawerence for making it. With that being said, guys, that's all we have for the video. Let us know down in the comments below if there's other, well, obviously there's other big ones, but comment down below if there's other big food word differences that you know of. I know of faggot and meatball. You know, that's one of the biggest ones. But yeah, if there's another video you guys want us to check out, let us know. With that being said, though, please be safe, take care, look after one another, and cheers.